Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins New Mix. Stick around until the end, because we've got some really interesting and valuable Jefferson nickels from the USA to talk about today. You won't want to miss this. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Coins are often overlooked in our everyday lives. A nickel, for example, is something we often take for granted. Yet, there's an incredible story hidden within this small 5-cent piece. The 1983 US 5-cent coin, often simply referred to as the nickel, has a tale to tell, one that connects to the history of American currency, its design evolution, and the very fabric of the nation's economy. To most, it's just a coin used for small purchases, but to collectors and numismatists, the 1983 nickel holds a particular significance thanks to its intriguing design and fascinating story. The 1983 5-cent coin is part of a long line of U.S. nickels, which have been circulating since the first shield design was introduced in 1866. Over the years, the nickel has undergone several changes, both in design and in the materials used to mint it. By the time the 1983 version was struck, the nickel was quite different from its early predecessors, and it carried with it a lot of symbolism, changes, and, of course, value. The 1983 US 5-cent coin is part of the Jefferson nickel series, which has been in circulation since 1938. The coin features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse or front of the coin. This particular design was chosen not only because of Jefferson's prominence in American history, but also because of his association with the Louisiana Purchase and the founding of the United States. Jefferson's image, created by artist Felix Schlag, was meant to convey the importance of the nation's third president and his role in shaping the future of the United States. Interestingly, the design of the Jefferson nickel has undergone some minor changes over the years. The original obverse design showed Jefferson in profile, with a background featuring a depiction of Monticello, his famous Virginia estate. However, in 2004, the Mint released a new version of the nickel, commemorating the 200th anniversary of the Lewis and Clark expedition. This commemorative coin featured a reverse side redesign that depicted a larger, more detailed image of Monticello, as well as an updated portrait of Jefferson. But let's focus back on the 1983 nickel. This particular coin, though seemingly ordinary to the casual observer, has a few unique features that make it stand out among the other coins in the Jefferson nickel series. The composition of the 1983 5-cent coin is also worth noting. Like many modern U.S. coins, the 1983 nickel was made from a combination of metals. Specifically, it is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a standard composition for U.S. nickels since the 1860s. The minting process for the 1983 nickel took place at several U.S. mint facilities, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Each of these mints plays a crucial role in the production and distribution of U.S. coins, and the 1983 5-cent coin was no different. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint were issued without a mint mark, while those from Denver carried the D mint mark, and coins produced at the San Francisco Mint bore the S mint mark. But what really sets the 1983 nickel apart is not just its design or its composition, but the variety of ways in which it was minted. Some of the 1983 nickels, due to minting errors, have become highly sought after by collectors. One such error that has garnered attention is the 1983 double die variety. This error occurs when the dies used to strike the coin are misaligned, leading to a visible doubling effect on certain parts of the design. On the 1983 nickel, this doubling can be particularly noticeable on the date or the word Liberty on the obverse. For collectors, this is a treasure, as such error coins are often rare and carry a significantly higher value than their standard counterparts. There are also other varieties of the 1983 nickel, including those with minor imperfections or irregularities in the strike. These may seem insignificant to the casual observer, but to the trained eye of a collector, they can represent valuable pieces of numismatic history. In fact, Some of these errors or unique variations can command prices far above face value, especially if the coin is in excellent condition. So, what is the true value of the 1983 nickel? While most 1983 nickels are worth only 5 cents, certain varieties have been known to fetch much higher prices at auction. The 1983 double die error, for example, can be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the condition of the coin. A well-preserved example of the 1983 double die nickel can sell for anywhere from $100 to $500, but the most valuable examples have been known to reach even higher amounts. For those fortunate enough to come across an error variety in excellent condition, the value can rise even further. But the most surprising and impressive value of all might be for the 1983 nickel that is in perfect condition and features the rarest error varieties. In recent years, certain 1983 nickels with significant errors have been sold for as much as $112,000. That's right, an unassuming 5-cent coin that most people would pass by can potentially be worth a small fortune. The rarity of such coins, combined with the growing interest in numismatics, has pushed the value of these error varieties into the stratosphere. This dramatic value increase highlights an important aspect of coin collecting. Rarity, condition, and the presence of errors can all dramatically increase a coin's worth. A nickel that may seem insignificant to many could actually be a gold mine in disguise for those who know what to look for. The 1983 nickel is a perfect example of how seemingly common coins can hide incredible potential, and how a small imperfection can make a coin truly valuable. For those who are starting to collect or are looking to invest in rare coins, it's important to keep an eye on the 1983 nickel, as well as other coins from the same period. Coins that were produced in large numbers, like the 1983 nickel, are often not as valuable in their regular form, but once an error is introduced, the value can skyrocket. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these unique and rare varieties, and when one is found, it can make a huge impact on the collector's collection. Now, you may be wondering, how can you spot a valuable 1983 nickel? The key is to pay attention to detail. If you happen to come across a 1983 nickel, take a closer look at the design, especially the date and the inscriptions. Look for any signs of doubling or misalignment. If you spot any unusual markings, it's worth having the coin examined by a professional numismatist to determine if it's an error variety. Additionally, coins in mint condition, those with little to no wear and tear, will always fetch a higher price than coins that have been heavily circulated. It's also important to note that not all 1983 nickels are valuable. While the error varieties can fetch significant amounts, most regular 1983 nickels are worth only their face value. So, while you might find some rare and valuable specimens, the majority of the coins you come across will be just ordinary nickels. That being said, the search for valuable coins is part of the excitement of collecting. As we wrap up this video, let's reflect on the incredible journey of the 1983 US 5-cent coin. What was once a simple, everyday coin used for small purchases now holds a special place in the world of collectors and numismatics. Its design, history, and unique error varieties make it a fascinating piece of American currency. While the regular 1983 nickel may not seem like much, the rare error varieties are worth far more than their 5-cent face value. For those lucky enough to find one, the rewards can be extraordinary, with some of these error coins selling for as much as $112,000. It's a testament to the fact that even the smallest, most ordinary coins can hold incredible value. In 1988, a seemingly simple piece of American currency made its way into circulation. An unassuming 5-cent coin, a nickel. At first glance, it might appear to be just another everyday object, serving as a small denomination of money in people's pockets, used to buy a candy bar or perhaps slip through a coin slot in a vending machine. But as we dig deeper into the story behind this coin, we begin to unravel a fascinating tale of history, artistry, technological evolution, and, eventually, rare collector's value. The 1988 USA 5-cent coin may seem ordinary at first, but it carries with it a rich and intriguing story. Let's start with the historical context. The 5-cent piece, often referred to as a nickel, has been in circulation in the United States since 1866. That year, Congress authorized the production of the first official nickel, which featured the image of a Union soldier. Over the decades, the design of the 5-cent piece evolved, reflecting the changing times in the country. By 1938, however, the U.S. Mint chose a design that would remain for decades: a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse front of the coin, and the image of his home, Monticello, on the reverse back. This particular design would continue to be used for generations of 5-cent pieces, including the 1988 nickel. The decision to feature Thomas Jefferson and Monticello was a reflection of the nation's admiration for Jefferson's ideals, his role in the founding of the United States, and his legacy as a statesman and intellectual. Jefferson, after all, was a key figure in American history, having authored the Declaration of Independence and served as president from 1801 to 1809. His home, Monticello, was both a symbol of his personal legacy and a symbol of the nation's revolutionary spirit. In fact, the Monticello image on the reverse of the coin is an iconic representation of the country's past, a tribute to the nation's roots. The 1988 nickel was not the first time Jefferson's image had been used on the 5-cent piece, but by this point, the design had become ingrained in American coinage. However, 1988 was a pivotal year for the U.S. Mint. By this time, the Mint had implemented more advanced technologies and processes in the minting of coins, including the 1988 5-cent piece. These innovations would ensure that coins like the 1988 nickel were produced with greater precision than earlier coins. An important factor, especially for numismatists and collectors who placed significant value on the condition of a coin. The 1988 nickel was produced in two locations: the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, which were both responsible for minting coins for general circulation. The minting process itself involved the use of highly detailed dies, which would stamp out the designs onto each blank planchet, the metal disc from which coins are made. As a result, the 1988 nickel was produced with an impressive degree of detail and craftsmanship, despite being a relatively common coin. Millions of these coins were struck, sent to banks across the country, and then dispersed into the hands of everyday Americans. For many, the 1988 nickel would become just another coin used for small transactions, to be spent on coffee, gum, or parking meters. The vast majority of these nickels would eventually be worn down by years of circulation, losing their mint condition and becoming just another piece of pocket change. However, not every 1988 nickel would be used in daily transactions. Some were taken out of circulation and stored away, either by collectors or by those who recognized the potential for rare coins to increase in value over time. The appeal of coin collecting is partly driven by the hunt for coins that are unique, rare, or in excellent condition. While most 1988 nickels would be used and discarded as everyday currency, those that were carefully preserved and held in pristine condition would eventually become sought after by collectors. And it's not just the condition of a coin that makes it valuable. The rarity of the coin plays a major role in its desirability. For the 1988 nickel, rarity and condition would eventually become key factors in determining its worth. As the years passed and more 1988 nickels circulated, some would inevitably be lost or damaged beyond recognition. Others, however, would be kept in pristine condition, and these would become valuable as time went on. But even more than condition, collectors began to notice that some of these 1,988 nickels contained errors, further boosting their appeal. Error coins are one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting. These coins are typically struck with flaws during the minting process, creating variations that are not found in most coins. Errors can range from misalignments to double strikes, And these unusual characteristics often make error coins extremely valuable. One particularly interesting example of an error coin from 1988 is a nickel that was struck with a double die. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled or misaligned. This flaw can create a coin with a distinctive, one-of-a-kind appearance, making it highly desirable to collectors. A 1988 nickel with such an error became a focal point for numismatists, sparking intense interest from collectors who recognized the potential for this coin to become a rare and valuable piece of American numismatic history. Error coins like this are highly prized by collectors, and they can fetch substantial amounts at auction. In fact, one of the most notable sales of a 1988 nickel occurred in 2020, when a particular 1988 nickel with an error was sold at auction for an eye-popping $106,000. Yes, you read that correctly. This seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece, which had been struck with a rare double die error, was sold for an amount that far exceeded its original face value. The sale of this coin made headlines across the numismatic world and served as a reminder of how rare and valuable certain coins can become, especially when they feature errors or have been preserved in excellent condition. So, how did this $106,000 sale happen? The coin in question was carefully examined by experts, who confirmed that it had been struck with the double die error. This unique flaw made the coin highly sought after by collectors, who are always on the lookout for rare and unusual items. The excitement surrounding this coin's sale reflected the growing interest in error coins, which can sometimes be worth far more than their face value. For collectors, finding a rare error coin is like discovering a hidden treasure, a moment that makes the pursuit of coin collecting even more thrilling. Now, you might be wondering, how does a coin like the 1988 nickel achieve such a high value? The answer lies in a combination of factors. First, there is the rarity of the coin. Although millions of 1988 nickels were minted, not all of them were preserved in excellent condition, and fewer still contained unique errors. The rarity of these coins, combined with their historical significance, makes them particularly appealing to collectors. Second, there is the condition of the coin. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition are more likely to attract the attention of collectors, who prize high-quality coins. And finally, there is the story behind the coin. The 1988 nickel, with its connection to Thomas Jefferson, Monticello, and the United States history, carries with it a sense of historical importance, making it more than just a piece of currency. It becomes a tangible connection to America's past. Even if you don't happen to possess a 1988 nickel with a rare error, it's still a coin with significant appeal to collectors. The 1988 5-cent piece is an example of how history, design, and rarity intersect to create something much more than just pocket change. For those who are lucky enough to own a pristine example of this coin, it serves as a reminder that value is often hidden in the most unexpected places. So, next time you come across a 1988 nickel, don't just think of it as a low-value coin. Take a moment to consider its potential. Is it in mint condition? Does it have any noticeable errors? If so, you could be holding onto a rare and valuable piece of American history, just waiting for its moment in the spotlight. And who knows? You might just find yourself the lucky owner of a coin worth far more than 5 cents. In 1994, another piece of American currency found its way into circulation. A coin that, much like its predecessors, would begin its life as a simple nickel or 5-cent piece. But while it may have started as just a small token for everyday transactions, the 1994 USA 5-cent coin would soon become a fascinating symbol of both history and numismatic intrigue. While most of these coins were used as part of ordinary, daily commerce, some would eventually be taken out of circulation and become valuable collector's items. And, for a select few, the 1994 nickel would take on an even more extraordinary legacy, one that would eventually lead to an eye-popping value of $96,000. How did this seemingly modest coin evolve into something so valuable, so coveted? Let's go back to the origins of the 1994 5-cent coin and explore the journey of this nickel from its design to its modern-day appeal. The history of the 5-cent coin, or the nickel, stretches back much further than the 1994 version. The U.S. Mint began producing 5-cent coins in 1866, and since then, they've undergone several different designs. The earliest versions of the nickel were symbolic of the period's wartime need for copper and nickel alloys, with many designs reflecting national unity and the aftereffects of the Civil War. Fast forward to 1938, when the U.S. Mint made a significant design decision, one that would affect the look of the 5-cent coin for many years to come. In that year, the Mint adopted the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, to appear on the obverse front of the coin. Alongside Jefferson's image, the reverse back of the coin would feature his plantation home, Monticello, in Virginia, symbolizing his legacy and connection to American history. This design, created by artist Felix Schlag, became the cornerstone of the nickel's appearance for decades. By 1994, this design was already 56 years old, and the 1994 coin was simply the latest iteration of a long tradition of Jeffersonian nickels. The 1994 version of the 5-cent piece would be minted as part of this ongoing tradition, but the world had changed significantly since Jefferson's time, and the minting processes and technologies that produced these coins were also evolving. The 1994 5-cent coin, like most coins of its era, was made using a combination of copper and nickel. Specifically, it was composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which had become the standard alloy for U.S. nickels. This blend of metals ensured that the coins had durability, which was crucial for currency that would be in constant circulation. The production of the 1994 nickel, however, was not just about material, it was about precision. By this point in history, the U.S. Mint had implemented modernized techniques for striking coins, improving their accuracy and overall quality. Advances in technology allowed for sharper designs, better die life, and fewer imperfections in the finished product. This meant that, in comparison to earlier coins, the 1994 nickel had a high level of detail and a refined appearance. The minting of the 1994 nickel was carried out at the U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, the two primary locations responsible for producing the majority of the nation's coins. These coins were then distributed to banks and eventually found their way into the hands of American consumers. As with most coins, the 1994 nickel spent years circulating, being used for small transactions, changing hands from person to person, sometimes getting lost, sometimes worn down by frequent use. But, as is often the case with collectible coins, some of these nickels were carefully set aside, either by collectors or by those who had a keen sense of the potential value of these coins in the future. While the 1994 nickel wasn't exactly rare in terms of the number of coins minted, millions of these nickels were produced. The appeal for collectors lies in a few key factors. First, there is the inherent historical value of the coin. The 1994 nickel, like all coins in the Jefferson series, connects to a critical moment in American history. Jefferson was a central figure in the founding of the nation, and his image, along with the iconic Monticello, carries a certain symbolic weight. For collectors, owning a piece of currency with such an important historical connection holds great appeal. Then, there is the question of rarity. Even though millions of 1994 nickels were produced, many of these coins were circulated, becoming worn and damaged over time. Coins in pristine condition, those that have been preserved in excellent shape, are much rarer than those that have been used frequently. And it's not just the condition of the coin that matters to collectors. It's also the potential for errors. Mistakes in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. These errors, which can range from double strikes to misaligned designs or even unexpected variations in die markings, can make a seemingly run-of-the-mill coin highly valuable. The 1994 nickel, like many other coins, became a target for collectors specifically because of the possibility of error coins. There have been instances where nickels from this year, especially those with minor minting imperfections, have been sold for much higher prices than their face value. However, it's not just any error that attracts attention. It's the rarity and severity of the error that truly determines value. As the years passed and interest in collecting coins continued to grow, the 1994 nickel began to attract attention for another reason: its potential for appreciation in value. Coin collecting, or numismatics, is a hobby that has fascinated people for centuries, and it is one that often hinges on the idea of finding a hidden treasure. A coin that may not be worth much at first but could increase dramatically in value over time. The 1994 nickel, with its connection to American history, its potential for errors, and its relative youth compared to older coins, became one of those hidden treasures for collectors to discover. One particular 1994 nickel, in fact, would go on to achieve a level of fame in the numismatic world that few could have predicted. This coin, which featured a rare minting error, would be sold at auction for a staggering $96,000. This figure, nearly 2,000 times its original face value, shocked the coin-collecting world and brought attention to just how valuable a seemingly ordinary 5-cent piece could be. But how did this seemingly average nickel climb to such an extraordinary price? The answer lies in the details. The specific 1994 nickel that sold for $96,000 was a remarkable example of a double die error. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck multiple times, causing the design to appear doubled, which creates a misalignment in the image. The result is a unique, visually distinct coin that stands out from the rest of the coins minted during that year. This error, although rare, occurs more often than one might think. However, it's the specific combination of the error and the coin's condition that makes it particularly valuable. In this case, the 1994 nickel in question had been well preserved, allowing collectors to appreciate the error without any significant wear or damage to the coin's surface. The auction for this coin was a moment of triumph for coin collectors and a reminder of just how much a rare, error-struck coin can fetch. The sale of the 1994 nickel for $96,000 wasn't just a lucky find. It was a testament to the growing interest in error coins and the increasing recognition of the value of such items in the world of numismatics. Error coins, even those from relatively recent years like 1994, have proven time and time again that they can be more than just curiosities. They can be highly valuable, highly coveted objects of desire for collectors around the world. For anyone interested in coin collecting, the story of the 1994 USA 5-cent coin offers valuable lessons. It highlights the importance of condition and rarity in determining a coin's worth, and it shows how a simple error in the minting process can turn a low-value coin into an item worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors always seek out coins that are rare, well-preserved, and perhaps most importantly, that have a story to tell. The 1994 nickel, with its historical significance, potential for errors, and the high-profile sale of one particularly rare example, serves as a prime example of how a small, everyday coin can grow into something much more. So, what can we take away from the 1994 nickel story? For one, it's a reminder that the value of a coin isn't always determined by its face value. It's the rare combinations of factors, the historical connections, the unique features, the errors, and the condition that make a coin stand out in the world of collectors. And while it's not likely that every 1994 nickel will be worth $96,000, it's worth remembering that even the most ordinary of coins can hold extraordinary potential for those who are willing to look a little closer at it. If you happen to have a 1994 nickel in your collection, or if one turns up in your change, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding on to a piece of history, a coin that could one day find its way into the hands of a collector willing to pay far more than 5 cents for it. And who knows, you might even find yourself sitting on a rare and valuable treasure worth much more than you ever imagined.